Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. The topics on the table for everyone today, you can see it on the screen if you're on TikTok. If you are on YouTube, we're going to discuss Sheikh Jassim, a name I didn't think I would be bringing back up ever again after speaking about him for about a year. But some news has surfaced from Mike Keegan, so I want to talk about that in terms of the plans had he had bought Manchester United. I'm going to talk about Alphonso Davies' interest being cooled. Well, not necessarily interest being cooled. I should have phrased that differently. More, he's not as interested as first we may have initially thought. Amarin quotes. There was a couple that slipped through the net last night, so I want to dive into a couple of those. And we're going to get a here we go soon on Diego Leon. So they are the topics on the table for today's show. The Sheikh Jassim one's really, really interesting, I think. Mike Keegan put something out last night, basically, with the way he would have gone about, taking over Manchester United. And obviously, a lot of it, you look at it and you say that's just it's PR. The noticing that United are very weak at the moment under Ratcliffe. What better time to put a story out there, right, than right now? So this is the list of things that they've gone through, okay? So day one, announced takeover. Pretty obvious shake. I don't want to be that guy, but that's a pretty obvious step. Day two, announced that all debt has been removed, that the club has been taken off the New York Stock Exchange, and that it is no longer answerable to faraway stakeholders. That, if true, is obviously fantastic, because I don't like the fact that the club's on the stock exchange. I never have. It just doesn't sit right with me at all. It feels more like you're looking at it like a business rather than a club. So that would be great. But again, just remember this is like a bit of PR coming from Qatar. Day three, announced fully funded plans for new stadium. The funds were in place to build one of the biggest and best venues on the planet. Again, people are unhappy about basically having to pay for the stadium in the way that we're doing it. That's a full thing that you can dive into in itself. I mean, that could literally be its own podcast. One senior advisor to the group said, a stadium for a football club paid for by a football club and nobody else. And as for the staff Ratcliffe is firing, we would have been hiring. That is the line where it's like, well, would have you been? Or are you just trying to make yourselves look good there? Like, why would you just be hiring for no reason? Are you just going to be bringing people in just because you're a nice guy and you want to pay people? You're not going to be doing that, are you? I don't think they would have made as many cuts. I think for sure that's something that I would probably agree with. The things that you've seen with these M&S vouchers and Christmas parties, and I don't think you would have seen personally under Sheikh Jassim. I'm not saying he would have been the saviour and he would have been amazing, and you have all the human rights conversation that comes into it as well. So it's not as if like he's squeaky clean. The whole reason why a lot of people didn't want Qatar, and the whole reason why this whole thing going around Saudi Arabia as well with the World Cup, with human rights and workers' rights and freedom in being who you want to be as a person. That is a whole giant conversation. There would have been some controversy with the Rainbow Devils, for example, and so on and so forth. There would have been problems either side, and that's why we was debating it for so long. I mean, it would have been, a year and a half almost that we was talking about it. Someone's put human rights like the West has. I get that. I'm not disputing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not disputing that. I understand the West has no leg to stand on whatsoever. But I don't own the football club. I haven't bought the football club. You know what I'm saying? We're speaking specifically here about people who could have bought the football club. And apparently as well, so Alex Ferguson, meanwhile, was to be cherished and invited onto an advisory board rather than sacked. The advisor added, Sheikh Jassim is still a rich guy. He's still a United fan. He's still not going to rush off and try buy another Premier League club. Obviously, we heard rumours about Spurs, didn't we? If the opportunity to buy the whole of Manchester United arose again at some point in the future, it is hard to see there not being a big level of interest. The plans are still there. So that was the final line in Mike Keegan's. But on reflection now, obviously it's easy to say because we're in the worst point under Ratcliffe, so I imagine what a lot of people are going to say anyway. But sitting here right now, would you have taken the Qatar deal, or would you still have gone with Ratcliffe? And explain your reasons why. We want to have a conversation about this, not just, they would have spent loads of money, and I think they'd be great. Don't want to do that. Give me your reasons why. Obviously, for a lot of stuff they mentioned there, the stadium was always the biggest one with me. The Glazers being fully gone was always the biggest one with me. And in terms of avoiding, moral conflict, I mean, there's a load of environmental stuff with Ratcliffe's petrochemicals. The nature of it is, if it's a rich person, there's going to be 9 times out of 10 there's going to be some kind of moral conflict or something ongoing. If you own a chemicals company, if you look at the Qatar World Cup, for example, there's plenty of examples. So that's a debate in itself. But a lot of people saying Qatar because there'd be no debt. I get it. Dan Errington saying nothing wrong with M&S. I know there's nothing. Listen, nothing wrong with M&S. M&S have some of the best food. They do, some of the best meal deals. I have no qualms with it whatsoever. Is it in my budget range? Probably not. I'm a working class man. Do you know what I mean? I'm more of an Aldi kind of kid. But M&S is up there. I'm just saying they changed, what was it, £100 gift card to a £40 M&S voucher. And let's be honest, Ratcliffe definitely shops at M&S or Waitrose. It's one of the two. You will never catch Sir Jim Ratcliffe in Home Bargains, getting a deal in there for a Christmas jumper or whatever. Just not in his fabric, is it? So he probably orders, I'm guessing, online from a Waitrose or gets someone to deliver it and gets his little ham and pea soup that he really likes with a certain type of bread. Tony Angelino saying you're so deluded. Why am I deluded? Deluded about what? What are you on about? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that Sheikh Jassim situation, because I just thought it was really, really interesting. If you actually deep it, how long we was going back and forth on that for. Will it be Qatar? Will it be Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Oh, now apparently a hedge fund's getting involved. Oh, Thomas. What's that guy's name? I think he's gone to prison now. He was is he Swedish guy? He was saying, oh, what we want to do is, we want to invest 3 billion of our money, and then we want the fans all to chip in a fiver, and then we can buy the club together. Thomas, what was his second name? Zelensky, was it, or something? No, Zelensky's the Ukraine president, isn't it, or something? What's the guy's name, man? You know who I'm on about. Oh, it's really annoying me. Someone tell me before I lose my mind. That geezer, anyway, was a fraud from the start. You could see it straight off the bat. But the point of the story is there was plenty of things going about, weren't there? And like, we don't want a hedge fund. We want a fan-owned club. We can't have a fan-owned club. This guy, Right, I need to find this guy's name. I really need to find this guy's name. He was a billionaire. Thomas wants to buy United. Thomas Ziliakis. That was his name. Finnish businessman Thomas Ziliakis bids to buy a 50-50 partnership with the fans. What a load of bullshit that was. Who remembers that? Thank God we didn't do that because he ended up going to fucking prison. Dan saying I would have gone with the Sheikh, no more Glazers, new stadium, best in class staff from top to bottom. But saying all that, this is why can't Sheikh Jassim buy out the remaining percent that the Glazers own? Well, there'd be a contract in the clause now, wouldn't there? A clause in the contract, with Ratcliffe. I'd imagine that when he stepped in to buy a certain percentage, it's obviously with the vision of him fully owning the club, but also no one else can buy the club, whilst he has a certain percentage in it. So I don't think Qatar would be able to do that. So unless in the Australian round go, we fucked it, lads. We're bottom of the table still after 3 years. We spent a load of money, and maybe time to sell up. I don't think they'll sell unless that happens. So this whole concept of talking about Sheikh Jassim just will never ever happen. It won't. I'll preempt that first and foremost. But I just thought it was interesting because the article that came out through Mike Keegan and what he would have done. And he's obviously sat there looking at the club at the moment and what United are going through and where we are in the table and all this. There's a lot of negativity around Ineos at the moment. And they've gone, do you know what? This is the best time to Finger. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Look at that. Legend. Oh, it's fucking hot. Oh, it's burnt my mouth. Oh, my tongue. Oh. I don't know why I just went full in for a swig of that and didn't even think it'd be fucking piping hot. I've genuinely just burnt my tongue. Oh my God. Fucking hell. Oh. Fucking hot that, you know. Wow. I can't have my tongue's numb. Oh my God. Oh, that's really hurt. I've lost train of thought now. I've got latte tongue. Josel Morrison in the chat saying, big up, mate. Big up to yourself. Dan saying, I thought Sir Jim has first refusal, not the facts no one else can buy. You might be right about the specific. I don't know the specifics. I remember when all the details when he was first initially signing the deal, that's it. Like, people can't bid for the club now once he's in with a certain percentage. I don't know specifics about it, but yeah. Did you get that from Alde? No, this is actually this. It looks like a really nice latte, to be fair. This is, do you know the pods you can get? For people asking. This is the toffee nut pod, Starbucks pod. That sounds so bougie, doesn't it? But that's what it is from Asda. I told you, I don't shop at Waitrose or M&S. Careful, lad. Thanks, Gamer TV. Already done it now. Adam's family thing, handling you the hot stuff. Wow. Adam's family thing. I hope you're not referring to my girlfriend there. Jesus. Don't mind, but why are you... Oh, you're on about... I get you. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I understand it. Just gone straight over my head. George saying Sheikh Jassim didn't ever have the true funds to buy the club. Proof came out a while ago. Well, they're trying to spin that now. They're trying to spin it. And he's going to try to spin it. Obviously, that's what I'm saying. Like, Ratcliffe is at his weakest point in the moment. He's seen a target and he's gone, you know what? I'm going to finger. Don't mind, but why are you reminding us of Qatar? So the reason why, if you would have tuned in from the start, Lumen, Mike Keegan released an article on Sheikh Jassim and everything he would have done had he taken over Manchester United. I do think it's interesting to discuss the concept, and I know it's a hypothetical world, of where we would be now had they had taken over. Just to, you know, if you could put on some kind of glasses or goggles and you could see into the future. I'll tell you what I'd do. If I could see into the past, I wouldn't fucking swig that hot coffee straight away. But if you could see into the, you know, go back and have a look at like, right, we're going through the scenario now. We've got what are those things called? The fucking is optical goggles or something? The ones that you can what are they called? Why is my brain not working this morning? I'm trying to think what they're called. The AI, not AI goggles. Oh my God. I'm trying to think. The Apple Vision things. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you got anyway, you put them on and you go back into the past and it's like, right, boom, start from now. Sheikh Jassim's taking over Manchester United. Breaking news, these are the plans. This is what they're going to do. Let's go. Who would be the manager right now? What players would be at the club? Would the stadium already be starting being built? Would they have knocked down Old Trafford? You know, all of that. I mean, just to get that, you know, a 6-month run through of how the first 6 months would have gone. Surely everyone would be interested in that. Just to get a, you know, some evidence of what would have happened. Obviously, it's impossible. You can't do that. I mean, the only way you could probably do it is AI, which is, if you look at the thumbnail today, cheers, Twitter. This is going to take time, and if we ain't patient, we'll never get back to glory. I know it's going to take time. I'm not for 1 second suggesting that we would have been challenging near the top of the Premier League had Sheikh Jassim had taken over. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm interested to see the other side, the flip side of it, to see what would have happened. That's all I'm saying. VR gamer TV. That's the word I was looking for. VR headset. Why on earth I couldn't think of that? I don't know. I don't know why. That's what I'm saying. I need some more coffee, but I can't swing it because my tongue's really sore. Anyway, should we get into the other stories? I've spent 10 minutes speaking about Sheikh Jassim. I want to move it on. What's next? Oh, yeah, Alphonso Davies. All right, this isn't good. I wasn't a fan of this coming out from the Athletic. So, Alphonso Davies feels the upheaval at Manchester United and their current lack of involvement in the Champions League makes them a less attractive option. He would be a higher earner even if arriving as a free agent, and club sources say it's not a priority deal at present. Which, if I'm prioritising that left-back spot, left wing-back spot, whatever you want to call it, Alphonso Davies would certainly be someone who I would look at for that role because I think he'd be perfect. But I have also said at the same time, obviously you have competition from Madrid. Now, people will bring in the Euro narrative, saying, well, you know, Madrid wanted Lenny Euro, and we went in there and we got the job done, and we brought him in as a player, and he's a hugely talented young kid who has got the world at his feet. That's great. With Alphonso Davies, slightly different. Obviously, he's a bit older. It's starting to go into his prime now. If Madrid are interested, I mean, Real Madrid right now and Manchester United, you know, I mean, I don't even think Madrid are top of the league, but I'm just saying the projects they've got going there. It's like saying, do you want to go live in Spain, hot sunny weather, be, you know, a main left back for Real Madrid, playing with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Valverde, you know, all these guys? Do you want to do that? Potentially win another Champions League, which you've already done with Bayern Munich, and definitely challenge for the league. Or, Alphonso, or do you want to go into a bit of a negative space at the moment with Manchester United, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe tearing up everyone's butties, and gift vouchers and cancelling Christmas parties, who probably not going to end up in Europe this season, probably not going to even challenge for a top 4, top 5 kind of position, and probably not win a trophy and start at the very basics of Ruben Amorim's project. Which one do you want to do, Alphonso? Which one? So when you put it like that, it's kind of like, I understand it, I get it. I just think he's perfect for that role. I think he is. I know we've been linked with others. I know Kirkez has been linked. I like Robinson from Fulham. I think he's really, really good. If you want to go in for him, then I'll definitely have a conversation about that. But if I was to handpick anyone who's available for a transfer right now, Alphonso Davies would be numero uno, would be number 1 for that area. But yeah, apparently he doesn't fancy it, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Is it all just clickbait, or has Sheikh Jassim done an interview or something? So this is being fed through to Mike Keegan from one of his advisors. Take that for what you will. We would have signed Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, and Qatar and won the lot. Jesus. Not to be confused with VAR. Of course, Steph. Of course. Theo Hernandez from AC Milan would be a good signing. That would be a dream signing as well, but never happened. I mean, I remember that a few weeks ago, doing a show about that. Never, ever happened. Davis to Villa. Need a fullback. No chance. He won't go Aston Villa. I'm sorry, but if he ain't going United or the Premier League, he's not going Villa. He'll end up going to Real Madrid. 300k a week is a big problem. Is a big, big problem. Because when you consider that as a full package, 1.2 million a month, you're talking 12 mil, let's say, a year, and then he's whatever the will there be a fee, or it goes on a free, doesn't it? So I don't know. When you weigh it up, it's kind of like maybe it'll be worth it, but it's just wages have a big say on why can't I think this morning? PSI is what the pressure you put in your tyres, isn't it? Oh my god, I'm all over the place this morning. All over the place. So yeah, that thing that I've just said, that's what it is. On to the next topic. Ruben Amorim. Me and Sam covered the press conference last night, but it was a couple of quotes that slipped through the net, as it always does with pressers, because sometimes the aggregators don't always put them out. And Ruben Amorim's talking about set pieces, saying we want to improve them. For us as a staff, it's a different country, and you can see that you are allowed to do something more here in set pieces. You have to take advantage of that. We had 2 bad results, but I think we are improving our performance. We want to continue that, but also improve the results because we need to continue in this competition. It's really important for us, obviously alluding to the Europa League. With performances, it's hard to say with the Nottingham Forest one because I had a few beers. So that was one of the few games that I watched that I wasn't watching in an analytical way, if that makes sense. So I wasn't... Usually when I watch a game, I'm really zoning in on, like, right, what can we do better here? What do we need to improve on? Whose fault was that goal? Like, I really zoom in and play it back, and that's usually how I watch a game. When I watched the Forest game, I was at the pub with my mates, so it weren't really like I was watching it, but I weren't laser focused on the situation. So what I'd taken away from that game was, I think there was bits, and there was that, I don't know if it's the first half or second half, where he was actually really good and was controlling it, and was creating moments. But again, like set piece within the first couple of minutes, undone us straight. You're on the back foot straight away. Then the 2 goals that you could see, the Sandro Martinez at the back post was just unforgivable, and then the goal that Onana conceded was unforgivable. So you can do as much as you want as a coach and have them set up perfectly. If a player or players make those kind of mistakes, you can't make up for it. There's nothing tactically on the planet that you can do as a coach if players are making those kind of mistakes, apart from just drop him from the team. And he ain't going to drop Onana because he's the first choice goalkeeper. And likelihood is he won't drop Lissandro for a bit, at least for a bit. So I don't know what you do with that, because a lot of these players have mistakes in them. Dallo has a mistake in him. Lissandro has a mistake in him. Onana has a mistake in him. Casemiro has a mistake in him. Like, you can go through the full team. A lot of them have these kind of lapses in concentration. The evidence is there to witness. So I think obviously he has to work with what he's got. He alluded to that in his press conference as well. And the youngsters coming through the academy. But then in the summer, I think there's going to be a massive, massive overhaul of this squad. Getting rid of certain players. And that's if you can get rid of certain players. This has always been a massive conversation with us because of the wages that they're on. Like, everyone's talking about sell Marcus Rashford, sell Marcus Rashford. Who's going to pay a fee and then pay £350,000 a week on top of that as well? Who's going to pay 200 grand a week for Anthony? You know? If we want to sell Mason Mount, who's going to pay 270 grand a week for him? This is why it's hard to move these kind of players on. So he's got to work with the squad that he's got in a minute until the summer, and then hopefully we can get some money for players, because otherwise we're going to struggle. There would be an agent fee and the largest signing on fee as United aren't paying Bayern for the transfer. Yeah, that's a great point as well, Dan. Lumen, Man City 1 win in 10 games. Thoughts? Yes. Look, if not everything's all bad at the moment, and I'll tell you why. I think Box makes a great point. City lost another game last night against Juventus. Didn't even score. I mean, I don't know. They've conceded 28 goals. I think it is in 10 games. Like, they are really not at it. Now, I don't know if that bodes well for us or if that's really bad, because I'm expecting them to slap someone soon. And I mean, like, really bounce back. And I'm praying it's not the Manchester derby this weekend, because the last thing we could do with it at the moment is a 4-5-0 loss to Manchester City, who the memes that would come out of that game, I mean, I can't even start to think about that kind of stuff. It gives me nightmares. Obviously, we've got to get past Viktoria Plzen tonight and get that job done, and then we can focus on the derby on the weekend. But I'm really, like, in limbo with this derby. I don't know what to think. I'm thinking, yeah, we could probably get a result. Yeah, but then I'm thinking it'll just be a very similar performance to Arsenal, where it's backs against the wall, trying to hit them on the counter attack. But if we don't have punch on the counter attack, then we won't lay a glove on them. And then when you've got players like De Bruyne and Foden and Haaland on the pitch, one of them's bound to do something. So I'm having a bit of a tug of war in my head about City in a minute. I'm a bit like, I'm not looking forward to that derby on the weekend. I'm really, really not. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But in terms of the winning 1 in 10 games, I mean, it's great. Pep's having an absolute meltdown. The players are having a meltdown. I've heard that they're hearing for their things that the court thing has been done, so that's finished. Obviously, the results won't be announced until March, I think it is, and then they have a right to kind of appeal it, so then it could drag on for longer, but the thing's been concluded. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything leaking from that at the minute. Very, very surprised. I know it's a court thing and it's very watertight, but I'd be interested to see what happens. Man United versus Man City, which means form goes out the window. It does. I know what you mean, but I'm never confident going into a derby at the minute. Literally never, ever confident. I don't know why. I've just got PTSD as a United fan. I mean, we've been on the back of last season, the season before, like, name him. Obviously, we beat him where it matters in terms of the FA Cup, but the year before that, we lost an FA Cup final to him, where they done the treble. So arguably, that FA Cup could have been more important. And, if anything, it kept Ten Hag on for a bit, didn't it? So, you know. Liam Jones, good show as always. Thank you very much. However, the Sheikh Jassim story is dead easy to say after you weren't prepared to put the money up. I know. I explained that. I know. This is just having a conversation about the report that's come out from Mike Keegan. I am, no way saying that it would have been amazing and look at what we could have had. I weren't. It was a very balanced view. I wasn't just, siding with one thing. Nick, what's your thoughts? Some suggesting Amorim should neglect the Cups and focus on training and the Premier League. I would suggest the opposite, Lumen, to be honest. I would say focus on the Europa League, because if you want to be in Europe next season, I think that's your only ticket. It's your only ticket. You're certainly not making the top 4. I don't think there's any chance you make the top 4. Let's have a look at the table together. So we're looking at this now. If I can get this, just give me a second. Get a screenshot of this. I'll bang it on the table. That sounds weird. I'll bang it on the screen for you in a minute. Very quickly. Magic of screenshotting, eh? Save it to downloads. Bosh. Alright, let's put this league table on. So this is the reality that we're facing at the minute. This is where United are at. Okay. Well, it's just decided to not put a thing on the screen. Sorry for people on TikTok, you won't be able to see this. I do apologise. But, so, if we look at this table together, hopefully you can see that. I mean, to be fair, I could probably crop some of it out. Just a little bit. United at the very bottom there, as you can see. Let's move this over here. So, hopefully you guys can see that. This is what we're working with at the minute. Liverpool, 35 points at the top. Chelsea, second. Chelsea are title challengers. Title challengers. Crazy. Arsenal, third. Man City, 4. That's your top 4. All right. Forest, Villa, Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, Tottenham, Newcastle, Man United in 13th place with 5 wins, 4 losses, and 4 draws and 6 losses. We've lost more games than we've won this season, and we're on 19 points. So we are currently 8 points off the top 4. To close that gap, I mean, you've got to go on some winning run, some serious winning run, right? And then United's fixtures in the Premier League is, honestly, I mean, I'm struggling to find where we get a win. This sounds so negative, but if you look at them, so we've got City on the weekend, Bournemouth at home. People will say, yeah, we should be getting that win, but Bournemouth are a decent team and they're above us in the table. Wolves away, we always struggle at Molineux. That's just a bogey team for us every time. Newcastle is always a tricky game. Liverpool at Anfield in January. Southampton at home, which should be the tap-in, but then Brighton. Fulham away. Like, how many of those games are we winning, realistically? Typically, you would say, oh, yeah, should we win in that? But based on form right now, based on how we're playing, based on everything you've seen so far this season, how many of them are winning? You know what I mean? It don't fill you with confidence, does it? It does not fill you with confidence at all. Of course, fella, I caught the show late. I would imagine you have a balance view. All right, yeah. Sorry, I was quite defensive then, wasn't I? Okay, the last story, people. The last story. Here we go soon on Diego Leon. That's the reports coming out from Fabrizio Romano. So Diego Leon and his entourage are in England to finalise his move to Manchester United. The deal is worth around £6 million, including add-ons, according to Cerro Porteño. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's the club he's currently at the moment. We spoke about this player yesterday. I don't want to do a full deep dive because, like I said, we literally spoken about him. But he is a wing-back. He's a left full-back from Paraguay. A very exciting talent. Clubs like Arsenal, City have registered their interest in him. Dynamic, electric, extreme. Why the fuck's that on the screen? Get rid of that. And why is that on the screen as well? I took that off. Well, I don't know what's going on here. I'm all over the place. Electric player, rapid, contributes quite a lot attacking-wise, but again, can hold his own defensively. Still a young kid, still 17 years old, doesn't turn 18 until April. So he won't actually join United until the summer. But I think it's exciting. United don't usually do these things. I mean, Pellistri was the last South American youngster, I think, from what I can remember. Obviously, you got Garnacho in there as well. You got a few there. And I think a lot of clubs at the moment, Brighton, City, they have a scouting network set up in South America and they're just plucking these talents. McAllister's, Casados, Gabriel Jesus, all these kind of guys. Julian Alvarez is another one. I've always said United should have a network set up there. And I mean, for all I know, they could have for the past 10 years and I've not known about it. But I'm saying, you're watching all these other teams pluck these extremely talented players, and you're like, why are United not first on this? So you look at this deal with Diego Leon, and you think this could be one of them. And you know, if he turns out to be the player that we think he is, then you've spent $6 million, and you know you're going to get a good profit on it, aren't you? But youngsters don't always work out like that. I mean, we had an opportunity to sign Casado, didn't we, for $5 million, and we fucked that up. So, yeah, it's nice to see United make these kind of signings, and I think we can expect some really concrete news on that today, in terms of him, like, legit fully signing. We've lost more than we've won is a mad thing for United to contemplate, let alone be a reality. I know. Are we on Chelsea's footsteps? What does that mean? I don't understand that point. Anyway, look, it's match day. I've not even spoken about that today, but we'll save all the thoughts and feelings as we go into that. We're going to have all the reaction because, don't forget, the kickoff today is 5:45, I think. Yeah, 17:45. So we're going to be live on this channel at 5:45. Game kicks off at 5:45. We'll be live at 5:45 with all the early team news and everything. So I hope to see every single one of you, whether you're on TikTok or on YouTube, come join us for the pre-match stuff and the post-match reaction as well, which will be straight after the game today. We're currently on 8,913 subscribers. So if there's anyone out there who enjoys football content and you have a spare 2 minutes, if you're on TikTok, click the link in the bio and become a part of the community. And also for people on YouTube as well, if you are new and you're just watching this and you think, oh, I quite like this content, I quite like this, 2 live shows a day, then hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 10k, baby. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. The half an hour mark, as we've just gone past that. So I'll see you guys in a few hours' time for the match against Viktoria Plzen. Let's go. See you in a bit.